I had just finished telling the police exactly how I killed my best friend when someone in the interrogation room whispered behind me, "You forgot to mention the knife." I turned around, and the man I had confessed to murdering was sitting right behind me. My name is Daniel Mercer, and until 6 months ago, I had never spent a single night in jail. Now, I'm serving 25 years, not for murder, for something much stranger. Please like and subscribe for more interesting stories. It started on a rainy Thursday night in October. I still remember the smell of wet asphalt outside my apartment complex in Portland. The streetlights flickered because of the storm, and the gutters overflowed with rainwater. At 8:17 p.m., my phone rang. It was Ethan, Ethan's disturbing discovery. Ethan Brooks and I had been friends since middle school. We were 32 now, and despite life pulling us in different directions, we still met every Thursday night. Only this time, Ethan sounded terrified. "Dan," he said, breathing heavily, "I need you to come over." "Right now?" I asked what was wrong. He hesitated, then he said, "I found something in Dad's storage unit." I drove there immediately. Ethan lived alone in a rented farmhouse about 40 minutes outside the city. When I arrived, every light in the house was on. Ethan opened the door before I even knocked. He looked awful. Pale. Sweating. Shaking. On the kitchen table sat an old metal lockbox. Inside were stacks of yellow documents, newspaper clippings, and several Polaroid photographs. One photograph stopped me cold. It showed Ethan's father standing beside a young woman. Written on the back were the words, "Emily Shaw. Last seen May 14, 1998, I recognized the name immediately. Emily Shaw had disappeared when we were kids. Ethan slid a newspaper clipping toward me. The headline read, "Local girl vanishes without a trace." Then he handed me another photo. In it, Emily appeared unconscious in a basement. I felt sick. "Ethan." I whispered. "Where did these come from?" "My dad kept them hidden," he said. "And there's more." He pointed toward the basement door. "I think he kept her down there." I should have left. I should have called the police. Instead, we went downstairs. And that's when we found the blood. The farmhouse basement smelled of mold and damp wood. Near the far wall stood an old workbench. Underneath it, hidden beneath rotting plywood, was a steel hatch. Ethan pried it open. Below was a narrow concrete chamber, no windows. No furniture. Just chains bolted into the wall. I remember feeling dizzy. Then Ethan noticed something else, fresh blood. "Still wet, someone's been down here," he whispered. That's when we heard footsteps upstairs, heavy footsteps. Neither of us moved. The footsteps crossed the kitchen, then stopped directly above us. Silence. A long, horrible silence, then the basement door slammed shut. We ran upstairs. No one was there. The front door remained locked. Every window was closed, but on the kitchen table, beside the lockbox, was a note, written in black marker. "You shouldn't have opened it." Ethan panicked. He wanted to call the police immediately. Before we could dial, the power went out, complete darkness. Then we heard a woman's voice. Soft. Barely audible. "Ethan." We both froze, because the voice had said his name. We searched the entire house. No one. Nothing. The electricity returned 10 minutes later. Ethan insisted someone was messing with us. I left around midnight. That was the last time I ever saw Ethan alive. At least, that's what I believed. The next morning, Ethan wasn't answering calls. By evening, I drove back to the farmhouse. The front door stood open. Inside, the house was empty. The lockbox was gone. So were the photographs, and splattered across the kitchen floor was blood. There were signs of a struggle. Broken dishes. Overturned chairs. Drag marks leading toward the basement. But no body. The police arrived 20 minutes later. 3 days later, detectives showed me security footage proving I had returned to Ethan's house that night. The problem was, I had no memory of going back. The footage came from a gas station 6 miles from Ethan's farm. At 2:13 a.m., cameras captured my truck pulling in. I bought bleach. Trash bags. Work gloves. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Detective Ruiz asked if I suffered from blackouts. I said no. Forensic results returned. My fingerprints were everywhere inside the basement chamber. My DNA was mixed with Ethan's blood. Police searched my garage. they found a shovel covered in matching soil. In my truck, they found Ethan's watch. I was arrested immediately. For weeks, I insisted I was innocent. But evidence kept piling up. Then, while awaiting trial, I received an envelope, no return address. Inside was a single Polaroid. It showed me sleeping in my own bed, written underneath, "You really don't remember, do you?" I stopped sleeping. I began questioning myself. Had I done it? Had I snapped? Eventually, after months of pressure, I broke. I accepted a plea agreement. In exchange for a reduced sentence, I agreed to confess. The confession took place in interview room 4. I told them everything. Then I heard it. A voice behind me, "You forgot the knife." I turned around. Ethan was sitting there, smiling. "You still don't know who died," and then he vanished. Psychiatrists diagnosed me with stress-induced psychosis, but 2 months into my sentence, Detective Ruiz visited me. The blood at the farmhouse wasn't Ethan's. It belonged to a woman. Emily Shaw had been alive for 28 years, locked beneath that house. She died the same night Ethan disappeared. Ethan was never found. Then I received another envelope. Inside was a photograph of me sitting in my prison cell. Written on the back were 6 words, "You confessed exactly as planned."